All right. Season 1.1, we're about a week in. I'm gonna give you the too long to watch. The game feels very similar to the release. I'd say if I had to give it a number, it'd be like 10 to 15% better than it was before. So I'd give the game like a 4 out of 10 right now. So it's definitely better. I'd say the game is maybe a little bit worse than D4 right now. For a close contender. Anyways, the good. I'll start with the good, I'll go to the bad. Character progression is probably the best in an RPG, besides PoE. I think it's really good. I almost enjoy it more than PoE. I enjoy it more than early game PoE. Like, PoE, once you hit the mid to end game, I think it's way more satisfying. But this game is just like pretty easy to get into. You just slam your items over and over. It's satisfying. It's cool when you drop a unique with the LP. I like the system. It has pretty interesting gear choices. Satisfying. Short and sweet, basically. The new boss is good. Sorry, I'm gonna do it like this. The new boss is good. I didn't fight it because I'm a noob and I kept getting a skill issue and dying to random stuff because I'm a noob. Yeah, new boss look good. If you like if what was wrong with the game before was you didn't have like a real goal to do. Now there's a real goal, so it's good. Balance is definitely better now. Besides maybe the mana stacking stuff. Mana stacking might be too OP, but overall the balance of classes I think is better. Last season it was just the two really OP things. It was Warlock and Falconer. Those have been brought down. They're still like really good. Like still probably S tier. But yeah, overall it seems like you have more options now. Besides mana stuff, this is pretty OP. Then on the topic of balance, Ward's not as powerful. They brought it down. They changed the formula for it. So the way it was before is basically, if I recall, it's like a straight line before. The more ward regen, more ward whatever you got before. It was like a straight line linear. You just got more and more. And now it's turned into more like this, where it's I don't know, exponential, logarithmic, whatever. The more you get, it's harder to get more. And I think that was probably the way before too, actually, but it was a lot less steep. Now it's like, I think at like the 6,000 ward mark, you like hit a much steeper wall than before, and it becomes much harder to upgrade. So I think that's good. I think it is still way better than HP. Not nearly as much before, but I think Ward is still much better than HP. HP should really just be buffed up to where Ward is right now. Evade is good, and by evade I mean the dodge roll with spacebar. I pretty much feel like every game should have this at this point. It just improves the fluidity. You're not like awkwardly running around all the time. Gives you a little extra boost, you know? I like it. So there's a ladder now. Got a level ladder, finally. I don't know how games have started just not doing it, but I don't like this trend in ARPGs now, just not having ladders. I mean, this game does now, but like D4 still doesn't. This game didn't for a really long time. I don't know how games from 20 years ago had it, and now we're just not doing it. I don't know. But it's got it now. And I'd like a boss ladder too, but one step at a time, I guess. The servers are definitely better than on launch. There was like 45 minutes or so on day one, which was really painful. Basically couldn't play. Then after that, it's been pretty smooth. I've heard some people complaining about DCs. I'm sure they're not perfect still, but they're much better. I've DC'd like maybe 2 or 3 times total. So servers are much better. Glyphs of Envy are really nice. So they're these. So you put an item in your forge, and then ideally like an exalted item, high tiers. And then it basically sucks the energy out of it, I guess. is how you'd explain it for the potential. And it puts them on to your monoliths, whatever the last one you did. So it gives you the stability bar, which allows you to challenge a boss. It just adds numbers of that. So if you need 1,000, it'll add like, I was getting like to around 200 per item or so. So use 5 of them, you got the boss. Really good for leveling your new characters that you make. The season mechanic makes leveling feel better. The game really felt like it was missing a seasonal mechanic. Before you just kind of kill the rare monsters you saw. Now there's a mechanic to break it up. It's good. I do feel like the mechanic needs some changing. The monster that comes out of the mechanic I feel like is weaker than most rares. It's really weird. It's basically just free loot. I just one-shot it pretty much every time. And it should probably be in maps a little bit more. I feel like it's a little lackluster. I mean, it's not bad, but yeah. Bad. On to the bad. The game's still incredibly buggy. There's lots of crashes. Lots of performance issues. I listed some stuff here. Just my main grievances, I guess. Not even my main, just some I thought of. Online mode, portals are really slow. Zones are failing to load now. Certain classes, like Warlock, you're locked at like 20 to 30 FPS. Maybe even like 15. It gets really bad on Warlock. Restarting the game every so often kind of helps. Sometimes Warlock will get so bad that I have to restart the game. And it'll go down to like 5 FPS till I do. It's pretty bad. Pretty bad performance. I've heard some other classes have the same thing, like Avalanche with Shaman is pretty big. Bad, even. You drink. So, they added this thing this season where you get blessings based on your other characters. Well, in hardcore, if you die, you don't actually get your other blessings on your character. So you're supposed to, like, on your next character, get the minimum roll of all the blessings on your next one, right? On my second, third, and fourth character of the season, I didn't get them. I just didn't get them, so I'd like to get them. A lot of the time on the ground, I can't click loot, which is, I don't know, there's like a few loot issues. Sometimes I click on it and I walk over to it, it just doesn't pick it up. Sometimes I try and click it and it's like not even interacting with it, like I can't even hover over it to see the item. There's some weird stuff going on with that. There's still weird invisible walls in certain places, so you just get stuck. I think it's not as common as it was before, but yeah, it still happens. Pretty annoying. The campaign is horrendous. Now people are gonna say, oh, you don't have to do it more than once, you just have to get keys after you, whatever. Yeah, well, it turns out, I actually didn't realize this till this season. I thought keys were a good system. I mean, they're okay, I guess, but I thought before they like updated your quest states and everything and it gave you the points and you basically did the 3 keys, 3 dungeons, and it gives you all your points and stuff, and I was like, okay, that sounds pretty good. But apparently, I actually did this season before I just leveled because I was scared of dying in hardcore or whatever. Turns out the keys don't even update your quest state, they just give you the new area. So you still have to run around and go do all the side quests, which are, like, not good. I really think the campaign is really bad in this. They should just put a skip in as a band-aid fix. There's no shame in putting a skip in and then just make a better campaign, because this one's really bad. Not quite the... Okay, so kind of like the campaign, but not really. Quests, I guess. In Monoliths, the quests getting up to the Monolith boss the first time you do them, so not empowered, just regular ones, is really bad. Some of the worst quests I've ever seen. There's like one of them that is... Well, let me get the paint diagram. It's this huge map, and then there's like... You gotta talk to someone here. Then you gotta walk like 2 miles to someone here. And you gotta walk the 2 miles to someone here. And then you gotta walk the 2 miles back to the start. And then you kill some guy in like 2 hits. It's really bad. And then there's another one where the map's like gigantic, another fucking 85,000 football fields put together. And then there's like crab eggs on the edges of the map that you have to grab. Stuff like that's really bad. The campaign has some stuff like that too. No, I don't think it's even as bad as it is in Monoliths. In the campaign, I think the campaign is slightly better than those quests, but campaign still has a lot of like really bad zones. It's not satisfying to go through. And yeah, I don't know. The campaign's just not good bosses. You know. If you don't know when the resistances swap, you're gonna be just like screwed. For example, what I mean by that is like if you come here, so before you go to the void zone, right? You're in like the place with the firebirds. That's where you start, is with all the firebirds everywhere, basically. You need to get fire res. And then if you don't know the next zone is void, you're just kind of screwed. You're just gonna get farmed by the void guys because you have 0 void res. Now that being said, even if you know it's void, it's still possible you get screwed and you just don't get any void res and you're screwed, basically. Just a huge wedge in your progression by getting bad RNG and void res. And this can happen throughout the entire campaign for each zone with resistance. Pretty bad. I'm not a fan of that. I think there should be like some guaranteed stuff, like maybe you're guaranteed 50 res in items or something. Maybe it gives you idols in each time you hit a new zone where there's a major damage change, because it's really like obvious in this game. You like once you get off the void zone, you go to like necrotic fizz zone. There's no void monsters there basically, so you can just drop all your void res and go for necrotic and fizz. I think they should give you some like idols or something to help you cap it, like guaranteed res idols matching to the zone or something. Monoliths need a rework. They're pretty bad. They have really bad objectives. Like, some of them are good, some of them are bad. I feel like most of the time it's leaning towards bad. The most notable is spires are really bad. They'll put like spires all over the map and you gotta go kill them. And until you kill them, they just constantly will shoot at you. Although actually now, if you stand still for too long, they stop shooting. But it's not like instant, so if you try and do the leap mechanic and you haven't stood still for too long, they might shoot one last one at you and you die. I think somebody died that way. I think it might have been Ziz. I don't know. But monolith objectives, bad. The patrolling objectives are like bad. The arenas are bad. The arenas would be okay if the monster density was better, but like 1 in 10 actually have good density. Now about density, the density is way too variable. Like some maps are really fun to do. They're like packed with rares. And then like every monster in some maps will be a rare. And then you'll do another map and there's no rares. It's all just normal white monsters. No blues. Basically just white. It's really weird. Other maps you get like packs of 5 rares and that's the entire map. There's like no normal monsters. It's just all filled with swarms of rare monsters. The variance is really weird. I feel like they should bring the low end up a little bit. At least like have rare packs. Like you know, a pack of white monsters and then a rare in the middle or something. I don't know. Something like that. Because when you get a map with no rares, it's rough. It's bad. The boss lord mechanic. So this is their solution for people not liking the damage reduction on bosses. So a lot of people didn't even realize this, I think. But before, the game had adaptive damage reduction on bosses. So you would kill a boss, and I don't know the exact formula, so I'm not sure if I'm right on this. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I was trying to find the formula. I didn't look very hard, but I tried a little bit. And I couldn't find the exact formula. But from my understanding, it was like the more damage you did to the boss, the more it would reduce the damage you were doing. So if you did like 1 trillion damage, it would reduce it by like, I don't know, like 70% or something. It's like a pretty steep number. I think they changed it a few times. I think it was steeper at, like a long time ago, and then they made it less steep. And then now they've completely changed it to boss ward. But I'm pretty sure the way the old adaptive one worked was based on your damage. I think you could correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I could not find anything on this, but I'm assuming it was based on your damage, right? Now the way it works is a boss ward mechanic, and basically it just at certain breakpoints in their HP, like at 67%, at 33%. I don't know exactly what they are. I think that's what it is. They'll just get their full HP bar back of ward, which is this game's energy shield, which I guess I should have explained already because I already talked about ward, but whatever. The ward, they get their full HP bar back. So this is kind of bad all around, I feel like. From my understanding, I could be wrong. So the ward is based off the monster's HP, not the damage you deal. So this really, it hurts low DPS builds instead of helping them. And it hurts, or it doesn't, it's a big buff for high DPS builds than it is for low DPS. Low DPS, I don't know if it's a buff at all. It doesn't seem like it, because you have to fight the boss's HP bar like 5 times or something. And it doesn't degen that quickly. It's pretty slow. Yeah, they said you can just like, it ticks down over time, but it's pretty slow. Where was I going with this? So yeah, if you're low HP, if you're a low DPS build, you basically are killing the boss like 5 times, like over and over again, because it just gives the full HP. But if you're a strong build, it just adds like 5 extra hits, right? As opposed to before, it was really hindering your build if you're a high DPS, as opposed to now, because now it's just like 3 extra hits. But in general, I don't really like any kind of damage reduction system like that. I think it's kind of like a band-aid fix for poor balance. Like, why I don't know why you need damage reduction stuff. Just balance the game better. If you don't want stuff like that to happen where people one-shot the bosses or whatever, I don't know. That's just me. I feel like it's a weird band-aid fix that could be better. Season mechanics seems too rare. Monoliths, I don't know. I mean, I may be crazy, but I feel like I get mostly garbage from it. And then I don't even see it every monolith. So that's kind of weird. And it kind of devolves into this situation. Like, if you know PoE, it's like quarry farming. Where it's better if you want to farm the season mechanic, except in this game, I don't think it's capped at level by all. So what you do is you like go to some zone over here, this one. And when you go to this zone, it spawns there like every single time, pretty close to the waypoint. And you can just farm it there. Super bad melee still. Bosses just get like AoEs around them. And I don't mean like people say PoE's melee is like super bad. It's not anywhere close to how bad this game's melee is. Like, people don't genuinely understand. Like, people are like, oh, PoE's melee is so bad. That's every RPG, but it's so much worse in this game. Because bosses, like every boss, I swear to God, maybe not the new one, but like a bunch of bosses just have this thing where they'll cast a giant AoE around them and just channel it for like 10 seconds and you can't step near them or you die. It's kind of lame. So melee is super bad because of that fact alone. So you just have to sit there and look at them. Where if you're ranged, you can just keep shooting them for free. So it's like a double whammy. You can't go near them as melee, you can hit them. And on range, you can hit them from afar and just get free DPS. I think I talked about this map objectives model. It's really bad. The art style, or art side of the game, it's still not doing great. It's definitely better. Animations are still pretty bad. They were updated last season, I believe, and they're a little bit better, but they're still pretty bad. Sound effects and a lot of skills are still lacking. Also, it is getting better, but still not there for me. The cosmetics aren't great. I think their cosmetic shop is pretty bad. But I mean, that doesn't really matter. But I'm like an MTX whore. I do like to buy them and make my character look better, but that doesn't really matter, right? Now, that being said, A good thing is the base armor actually looks sick. Like, prepare the base armor, and then I'm gonna equip... I'll equip this one, and like, I don't know. I mean, that one's actually not bad, but I feel like it doesn't look that good. I mean, like, look at that. I don't know. I feel like it's not that great. I'm not a huge fan of the MTX. I feel like it looks much better. Which I guess that's a pro, because you don't have to spend money to look cool, right? But I think it looks much better when you don't have MTX on. Which is probably not good for the game making money, which is not good. But yeah. So that's it. I probably missed a few things. Like I said, this was very scuffed. I just wrote this down in a few minutes. Yeah, that's about it. I don't know. If you want to see the build I was playing, comment, I guess, and I'll make a video if you want to see. It's pretty good. Torment Warlock. But yeah, I'm done with Last Epoch for now. Just a little update video. Let's go.